Good morning, everyone. My artistic journey began long before I entered high school, but I think I can safely say that my greatest amount of growth has been fostered by the phenomenal classes I've taken at Towson High. Last year in particular, my Studio 1 art course challenged me to define my style and my interests through a variety of paintings that began to build my portfolio. Here I'll show a few highlights that I feel exemplify the steps I've taken in the past year as an artist. First, this is an expressive self-portrait that I was directed to do last year in Studio 1. I felt that with this piece I was able to push my colors and brush strokes to a newly dynamic level. The painting is 18 by 24 inches in real life, and painting my face on such a large scale allowed me to use bolder shapes and more contrast between dark and light than I had before. I liked this style of painting and began to incorporate the same methods into my other work. This is a large, layered self-portrait, and the assignment challenged me to include both my body and a variety of visual layers in the piece. In the process of painting it, I began to see my own style emerging, how I'm attracted to dramatic light, and how I tend to use a distinctive color palette. I really enjoyed painting the Venetian blinds because I feel they're a great example of where both are shown. The experience of creating this very large piece pushed my capabilities in that it took several weeks to complete and included a complex setup to tie together. Somewhere along the way, I realized consciously that what attracts my artistic eye the most are landscapes. It was not until fairly recently that I began to focus on translating beautiful sights in nature into two-dimensional work. This watercolor sketch, completed in South Africa's Drakensberg Mountains this summer, shows the first steps I take in interpreting landscapes, breaking them down into shapes and colors. Now we see a finished landscape painting in oil, which is the one that's on display here at the Department of Education. I call this piece a portrait of a tree. Using the same preliminary methods of identifying distinct colors and shapes in the subject matter, I tried to portray the personality of the tree, because I really think that trees have individuality as humans do. This was a foray into the realms of portraiture and landscape painting combined. I feel it adds to my portfolio since it is a self-driven piece, and it highlights the majesty that I see in trees and light. Finally, I'll just say that my body of work is not nearly complete, and it's always open to change. And recently I've taken an interest in experimenting in watercolor. This was a painting exercise that I did at school with the goal of depicting the same vibrant light, shadow, and color of a landscape in a different medium. I show this to emphasize that the process of developing new work is just as important as the final outcome. Neither this nor the previous sketch were meant to be showpieces. I encourage everyone to pursue art for the experience and to challenge themselves with new methods. Chances are you'll end up with an enticing portfolio that reflects your artistic taste and talent. Thank you very much.